Most people think the price of beef is decided by ranchers, but cattle are also traded on financial markets. So who actually decides what your beef is worth? Generally speaking, a beef animal makes a couple of stops on his journey to your plate. First, he's born on the cow-calf operation. Then he moves on to the stockers after weaning to spend a few months up to a year on grass. And then he stops at the feedlot, spends his last couple months there, hangs out at the processors, and then, boom, he's on your plate. Sounds simple, right? Not quite. See, there's a hidden layer under all of this that most people, including myself, have never even thought about. The financial markets. Cattle are traded on the same market as oil, wheat, and corn. Ranchers sell their cattle to buyers, buyers sell their cattle to more buyers, and on and on it goes until it ends up in the grocery store aisle. The price of beef is molded before it ever reaches your plate. Hi, I'm Hailey. I'm a Gen Z farmer in interior Alaska, and I raise beef cattle in one of the harshest places in America. Nope. On this channel, I explore building a small beef business, economics, and what small-scale production could mean for our food system. And today, we're talking about cattle markets and how they affect the price of your food. This topic really piqued my interest back when President Trump announced that the U.S. would be importing millions of pounds of Argentinian beef. Now, while we've been importing Brazilian beef for several decades, this announcement caused quite a ruckus amongst American ranchers, and a lot of people are complaining that the prices of cows on the stock market would drop. It got me thinking, why do we trade cattle on the financial markets at all? I'm a direct-to-consumer marketer, and in Alaska, that's how most people sell their beef, or at the very least, it's on a cash basis. We don't even have auctions here, so even our cash basis is pretty limited. The concept of the stock market is something that goes clear back to 1600s Amsterdam, but it wasn't something that was in America until the late 1700s. In 1792, a group of merchants in New York signed what would be called the Buttonwood Tree Agreement. This Buttonwood Tree Agreement, as it would be called, laid the groundwork for what would eventually become the New York Stock Exchange. The financial panic of 1792 caused a desire for there to be a standardized, centralized, and trustworthy trading system. Prior to this, trading had been a chaotic and decentralized endeavor, and the risk for being manipulated and losing all of your money was extremely high. Now, while cattle and other ag commodities had long been traded on a cash market, meaning sold for cash, as in a private treaty or at auctions, cattle futures were not traded on the stock market until the 1920s on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. Now, the history of ag's involvement in the stock market could be its own video, but for now I'm going to move on. So, what is a cattle future?
Hamburgers can see the future!
A cattle future is basically a contract that says, I agree to pay this price for your cows on this future date. It's setting a price ahead of time for animals that you're going to get later on in the year. Let's say you're a rancher and you know you're going to have cows ready to go in about 6 months. Problem is, you don't know what the price is going to be. So instead of gambling on a potentially lower price, you're going to lock in a price right now. If you're going based off of the cash market prices, that price is going to fluctuate. You don't know if the prices are going to be high or the prices are going to be low. So you're going to sell a futures contract. Let's say you sell the futures contract for $1.90 a pound. Now, you have stability and you know what you're going to get paid. The rancher is protected if the prices drop out from underneath of him, and the buyer is protected if the prices suddenly rise. This is essentially what the financial markets do, just on a standardized platform instead of being negotiated between two people.
Shake on it.
So now that we understand that the cattle futures market is supposed to help manage risk, it leads us to question who all is participating in this, because it's not all who you think it is. Join me in the next video as we explore who actually participates in the cattle futures market. See you then. I currently have 2 steers on either side of me just licking my back. They're not helpful at all. Hi, Gus Gus. Do you have anything you'd like to say to the camera? Hi.